beautiful souls, to another episode of the Cosmic Confluence podcast. I'm your host, Sana, and this is the space where spirituality meets practical transformation. Now, in this episode, we are diving into something deeply nourishing, living a whole, balanced life through the power of daily rituals. And who better to guide us than our radiant guest, Debbie Dhyan, Kundalini Yoga teacher, retreat leader, and creator of the Radiant Method. Now, listeners, Debbie's journey from feeling stuck and disconnected to living an abundant, high frequency life is so inspiring. And the best part is, she brings real practical tools to help each of us do the same. So, whether you are new to the world of energetic practices or you're looking to deepen your daily rituals, you are in for a truly transformative conversation today. So, let's quickly dive in. So, Debbie, welcome to the show, and it is such an honor to have you with us.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to just dive into this wonderful topic because ritual is so important.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Uh, Before talking about this zip, Debbie, so I mean, your journey into exploring Kundalini and then subconscious rewiring, it must be really, really transformative and powerful. So, um, how exactly it all started for you?
Yeah, it has all been a really big journey. I started many years ago stepping into a yoga studio. And before that, I had never done any sort of exercise, nothing. My mindset was really weak. I felt like I wasn't worth anything. And so I went to yoga because my back was hurting. This was almost 15 years ago. And it really changed me. All of a sudden, I started to notice, okay, not only are my physical symptoms getting better, but my energetic whole body is completely changing. And I started to change my habits, my rituals, all started to change little by little as I started practicing more and be more mindful every single day about my routine. And flash forward now, I went through many trainings. I had the courage to turn my fear around and begin teaching and working to really change my mindset. It took me many, many years, but
Mhm.
I really worked hard to create even a program now, my Radiant method, to help
Mhm.
others get there much faster and really focus on how important it is to shift our mindset and see ritual as an anchor and to really shift our mind and our conditioning.
Mm. That is lovely. That is really inspiring to me. And um, do you have any particular practice or a ritual that you do it daily? I mean, that is like, non-negotiable.
Yeah. They change daily, and this is what I'd like to tell people I like to have daily micro rituals. I really believe that you don't need an hour-long ceremony to really feel connected every day. It could be as simple as lighting a candle with intention or taking a pause to take 5 deep breaths or a gratitude practice at night. But for me, I have maybe like 5 different types of rituals that I like to change every day because I like to keep it exciting. So really it's nourishing my body. So making sure I have my ritual, my tea ritual in the morning that really helps me to create a beautiful nourishment for my body, making sure I take care of my physical body. So, whether that is through movement, through regular yoga asana, through sweating, like detoxing. And also, I love to do my Kundalini practice. So, really, one thing that I truly do is I do 3 minutes of breath of fire almost every day. And that really helps to move and wake me up.
Mhm. And as you mentioned about the radiant method, um, so what exactly it is? Because yes, we may have practices, like let's say meditation or yoga or maybe workout or just simply walking. But what exactly is so different about the radiant method or living radiantly overall?
Of course. So, the big difference is that we put action behind this method. Many times people think about, manifesting or ritual as just something that you do, manifesting, maybe just speaking it out into the universe, which I'm not going to lie, does work, but there is also action that has to happen. So, in my three-part radiant method, the first part is about finding out who you truly are and what you stand for, what your bright principles are. These bright principles are your gifts. These are why you came here and why you want to have all these beautiful manifestations. So we do some digging there. The second part is really about clearing out the old and making space for the new energy. And we do that by finding out what our blockages are, by questioning our conditioning that we've had that we maybe learned from being a little kid. And we start to work with our mind where we start teaching our mind more positive outcomes in life. And once we do that, we really leverage our brain chemistry because when we start thinking more positively and wanting more positive things in our lives, we start attracting it more and we start looking for it more. So it's really a healing program at a cellular level. And then the final part is one of my favorites because it's about creating aligned action. And aligned action is creating boundaries, creating, you know, maybe saying no to things that don't align with you anymore. And it's taking action to really have your manifestations come to life and to really live in that high vibrational life. Because I really believe that you have to do some sort of action to get the result that you want. So that's, kind of in a nutshell, as quickly as I can explain it, what the radiant method is, and it's a really three-part method of figuring out who you are, making the space, and then creating the action.
Mm. And Debbie, and this has happened with me as well. So sometimes I would struggle with consistency, or I would feel like this guilt or kind of, ick within me when I miss a ritual, or let's say my morning, not exactly morning, but yeah, meditation or maybe stretching or anything, a walk. So, what advice would you give to those who are trying to stay connected without falling into this, kind of rabbit hole of self criticism?
Yes. You know, that is bound to happen because whenever we make a new shift, a new change in our lives, we're always going to kind of question it. And so, what I suggest is to continue moving past that uncomfortable feeling. Start reframing all of those limiting beliefs, and it could be something very simple. So, if you let's say you missed something that you wanted to do in the morning, say you missed your regular stretching practice. Well, your mind might immediately tell you, "Oh, you're not a good person for doing this today. You're not going to feel good." Well, my first recommendation is to simply reframe it. So, instead of saying, I'm not a good person for missing my practice. Say, I had to miss my practice because I needed to show up for myself in a different way today. And so doing that by just switching and turning it into a more understandable, more gentle, maybe criticism or just a piece of feedback for yourself, it really helps your mind to feel more gentle. So being gentle with yourself really is super important in any sort of journey.
That is definitely a powerful reframe.
Yes, yes. And this can be very difficult to do that sometimes too. So I actually have people that I help, and I one of the practices that we do, I'm glad you brought this up, is to make those limiting beliefs into positive ones. And it's a very simple practice that you can do even without having them. You can just write out 5 beliefs that you believe right now that are limiting, and then right next to them or underneath them, write the positive outcome. So it could be something like, I am not worthy of success. And then you can turn that into a positive statement. And you can say, I am worthy of all the success and possibilities in my life. And so your brain just starts to shift little by little, but you have to train it.
Yeah, that is the condition there. Yes.
Yes, you have to train.
Hmm. And uh, you know, you blend, energy, um, and you blend as also the ancient practices like Kundalini with modern mindset techniques. So we are aware of the physical fitness and then the mindset techniques as well. But where exactly all this energy fit into this kind of beautiful um, equation here?
Mhm. Perfect question. So
Mm.
I work a lot with Kundalini Yoga and then also just regular ancestral work. And the way that it taps in, Kundalini Yoga is a technology. So a lot of the practices that we're working on help us to rewire our mindset very naturally and energetically because we are much more than just a physical body. We have a lot of energy moving through us. So through chanting, through uh, regular repetitive movements, through breathing, we really help our bodies to remember who we are and to create awareness so that maybe moving through those uncomfortable parts of changing your ritual are a little bit easier for you. And you're able to see where you have your blockages. So that's where the energetic piece comes in, where Kundalini yoga and ancestral work really helps to support the rest of the practices that you do.
Hmm. Interesting. That is interesting. And
Yeah.
on the contradiction, let's bring some contradiction into this. So,
Yeah.
um, some people would say that these daily rituals, if very rigid, they can sometimes create more pressure than peace. So, what would you say to those who kind of fear becoming too much attached to routines?
Mhm. Yeah, routine can sometimes feel like autopilot, and it could also feel a little too disciplined. But really, when you shift that around again, like ritual is very conscious. And when you start to think about these practices as a devotion, that's when your mind starts to feel a bit better, right? Because it just sounds better too when you say, "Oh, my ritual is a discipline." But when you say ritual is a devotion, it starts to feel more warm and loving and inviting. And so that's where also the mindset shifts comes in, where you start to change your feelings and changing your mind about how you feel about these practices. And I think too that practices have to have joy in them. And
Yeah.
so you have to find routines and rituals that really create that spark in your life. And that's why also I love to teach so many different things in my programs. I teach breath work, I teach journaling, Kundalini Yoga, sound healing, tea ceremonies, because I like to give people different types of options because I don't believe that wellness, that ritual is one size fits all. So remember, it's a devotion and devote this time for yourself.
Very well said. Very well said. And I'm so basically, it's not kind of forced upon you, but it's something which gives you that joy, that
Mhm,
soul nourishment or fulfillment. So
mhm.
yes, if that is the case, then I'm very sure it won't feel like a burden or much of kind of a negative attachment to.
Exactly. Yes,
Mm.
yes, exactly. I like to say, if you're not romanticizing your morning tea or your afternoon walk or your deep breaths between calls, then you're really missing out on the free magic that you have.
Mhm. Yeah. Ah, great, great tip.
Mhm.
Okay, so before we wrap up, um, let's say, I or maybe any of our listeners, they would like to start with just one ritual, um, tomorrow morning to live more intentionally. What would you suggest? I mean, I know that is difficult, but
Yes.
still, any one feels.
Yeah. What
Mhm.
I love to suggest is to start with 3 minutes of breath of fire. So breath of fire is equal inhale, equal exhale through your nose, rapidly pumping your navel point in and out, in and out. And if you want to also, you can look up the practice Ego Eradicator for Kundalini Yoga, and that's a wonderful practice that uses breath of fire for 3 minutes. And excuse me. And that really does help you to ground your energy and to also reset your entire mindset. And it's a good way to start your day as well, just bringing in that breath, that CO2 into your brain. So, that's my number 1 practice that I love to suggest.
Mm. Wow. Okay, so I would encourage all of our listeners to try it out. And Debbie, if they would also like to connect with you, what's the best way to do that?
Yes, you can find me on Instagram at ___ mystic wellness. My website is mystic-wellness.com. And there you can find a lot of courses. My retreat is coming up in Tulum in November, where we do a lot of healing work. And you'll
Mhm.
also find some free courses on there too. So feel free to check that out.
Great. I'll make sure to have all the links and details in the show notes. And Debbie, thank you so much for not only inspiring us, but also giving us some really great practical tools to start living more radiantly and then intentionally as well.
Thank you so much. It was my honor.
And to everyone tuning in, you don't have to overhaul your life overnight. Sometimes it is just one breath, or maybe one intention, or maybe that one ritual at a time that can create a whole new reality for you. So until next time, keep trusting the confluence of your cosmic path. Stay radiant and stay connected with us. And also, don't forget to connect with Debbie. I'll have all the links and details in the show notes. And until then, this is your host, Sana, signing off. Thank you.